You are listening to ZTO Radio.
The idea is to remain in a state of constant departure while always arriving. It saves on introductions and goodbyes. The ride does not require an explanation, just occupants. It's like you come onto this planet with a crayon box. Now you may get the 8-pack, you may get the 16-pack, but it's all in what you do with the crayons, the colors that you're given.
You are listening to ZTO Radio. I am Frank, and with me this time, my old pal Ray McGuff.
Hello.
This is kind of a weird one. Normally Scott's with me. I actually went to Scott's house the other night to record an episode of this, but we kind of, let's just say, we had too much coffee, and then we kind of just fucked around with musical instruments and made some embarrassing live videos that we immediately deleted. So there's probably like 8 people that saw us doing some weird shit late at night that night, and no one will ever know about it. So that was fun. But how you been doing, Ray?
Pretty good. I haven't felt the greatest for the last couple of days. I've got a sinus infection, so my voice may sound a little weird today, but got my bottle of water, Crystal Geyser here.
All right.
We'll soldier through this.
Yeah. I appreciate you doing this with me. Up here at the top, I just wanted to say, well, we might as well dedicate this episode to Senator John McCain, who passed away recently. The whole country's just been literally watching a live video feed of the White House today, monitoring this flag situation. Did you think that was stupid or what?
Well, here's my thoughts on it. Yeah, I did think it was stupid, but it's stupid because in this administration, everything has to be stupid. Every time a U.S. senator who has given this, John McCain gave 60 years of his life to public service, right?
Right.
So half that time spent in actual office, right? So 30 years plus. Any time somebody passes away like that, it doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or Republican, an independent, what have you. The respect of the White House, they say nice things. They release a statement saying the family hope things go well for the family and that they're sorry for their loss, and they lower the flag to half staff. And in this case, the guy is a war hero. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was tortured in Vietnam. So if anybody deserves that, at least respect, and it always goes from the time the person passes until they've been laid in the ground. It happens every year, right? This is without a beat. Every other administration, nobody has a problem. Even if you hated the person, you did it, and because you know why? You're just a nice human being. That's what human beings do.
Right.
Sometimes when a person dies, you let go of all that nonsense that you didn't like them for, and you go, well, it's a tragedy, they've passed. And you give them a little bit of respect in death. Not this fucking guy. This guy.
The funny thing is, the funny thing about it is, though, that this responsibility to lower the flag to half-mast is not Donald Trump's responsibility, probably, but he had to have had some interaction to make it not go on according to plan.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? There is no scenario where they don't follow the normal rituals of the White House. These are all normal laid out things that have been for hundreds of years, right, at this point. So These are normal things that just go on during the day. So it would have taken a phone call from either President Shitbird himself or one of his little lackeys, one of his little fucking dobbies,
Oh, yeah.
To go, hey, put that flag back up. We don't care. We gave him 2 days, which is just insanely petty to me.
It'd be like it's the same thing as if, like, how they I've never been to the White House. I haven't seen a lot of photos from inside of it. Honestly, they're probably out there. You can probably Google that and find that. But I assume they have pictures of the actual, like, past presidents. I assume there's a picture of Obama in there.
Yeah,
and it would be like if he was like, don't dust the Obama picture. I saw you dusting it. Don't dust it. It's like shit like that. Like why is? First of all, shouldn't he be gone by now? Haven't they found like everybody?
Yeah, everybody in his campaign group that was a top level guy for when they first started, running his campaign for president has been arrested and indicted on criminal charges. And then he's standing back going, "Oh, I didn't know nothing about that." That'd be like if you and I ran this ZTO TV for all these years, and you had been embezzling, and nobody told me about it. I don't know how I got this $100,000 house.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. The whole thing, but the thing I didn't even realize, I'm stupid when it comes to a lot of things political, and history wise, because I was like, well, he'll be impeached soon, and then he'll be out of there. And my wife was like, why would he be out of there? Clinton was impeached, and he finished out his.
That's very true.
His term, and I looked it up, and it was because he had been, what do you call, pardoned or whatever. It wasn't pardoned. It was. Fuck. I forget what they found. There was somebody
censured,
that intervened.
I believe it's censured is the word, right?
Yeah.
What it means is you're technically impeached, but you're not removed from office because the offense that you found was an impeachable offense, but nobody thought it was drastic enough to remove you from the physical duties.
Right.
And I believe it's called censured.
But that would be different with Trump, I feel. Like, he's violated so many things. Who's going to step in and be like, unless it's someone from his, group, I guess. Oh, fuck. Anyways, well, we should really move on to some music here. Get off this terrible, depressing topic.
Well, yeah, before we go, let's say one more shout out. We all have differences, every one of us. But, I saw some pretty hateful stuff on Facebook about John McCain. The guy, I didn't agree with him a lot. But he seemed like he genuinely cared about, his family and America in general, and he put his life on the line and was in a POW camp. At the very least, we can say, thank you, sir, for trying your best, so rest in peace.
Yeah. A soldier for rational thought, I always felt. I didn't always agree with him, but he was always on the right side of rational thought, I felt. So... anyways, let's get into some music here. We're going to start it off with a new song by Wandering Stars. It's called Rabbits. Have you heard this yet, Randy?
I haven't. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a doozy. And then we're going to follow that up with a song by Dustin and the Daydreamers called Get Away. We'll be right back.
It's consciousness. And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter.
Not connecting with my heart.
this growth of consciousness is called enlightenment. And enlightenment is the full potential of all of us human beings.
All right, guys. I wanted to. I've seen a lot of this lately, Randy. Tell me if you've saw this on Facebook. A lot of people posting about grass. Mow your grass the right way, or you're going to kill a motorcyclist.
Yeah, I saw you comment about that, and if you don't mind, I'd like to weigh in on this because I'm with you 100%. Yeah. Why am I always doing shit to help motorcyclists out? You know what I mean?
Like every you always got to look out for them. You always got to look out for them.
I got to look out for them. I got to make sure that the grass doesn't get on the blacktop so they slippity slide all over. No offense to them, but if you get on a fucking motorcycle, that's on you. I ride in a car. It's got 4 doors, a fucking airbag. It's 2,200 pounds. You know
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. If you're getting on a 2-wheel bicycle with a motor on it and you're driving too fast and you hit grass, hey, I hope you got your fucking leather pants on or whatever.
I had just heard about this like last year or something for the first time in my life, and I've known about motorcycles as long as I've been alive. I'm pretty sure. Never once heard this. Mowed grass a million times. Never once took that into consideration at all. Right. Ever. Never once. And I'll tell you what. If grass it could kill you just by driving across it with your motor scooter, maybe just don't drive those things, because that is a serious flaw. That's like if your house would fall apart if a leaf landed on it or something. Yeah. You know? It doesn't fucking make sense.
It doesn't make any sense that in this day and age that people are still riding motorcycles. It's fucking stupid. It's like, and when did they become some second class, like special protected group of people? Have you ever met a biker in your life that was like, hey, I really like riding my motorcycle, but I'll tell you, there's grass out there. It'll get you. Like every biker I've ever met in my life is the kind of guy that would shotgun 7 beers, hop on that thing, and drive it through a field. You know what I mean?
This is the thing I'm trying to figure out, because, like, okay, literally none of them wear helmets. You hardly ever see this, man.
Yeah.
With a helmet, we're supposed to look out for them, but and I know their argument is always helmets can kill you sometimes or what. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I know
if it kills you all the time. 60-mile-an-hour road burn.
Yeah.
To your dome, to the top of your fucking dome.
But like, how does? I want somebody to seriously answer this. You can write it into zombietakeovertelevision@gmail.com. We'll read it.
Tell us why you're special. Tell us why we should care about you as a motorcycle.
No, I don't want that, because I'll get a million of these. I want to know how a poker run works, because essentially to me, and this wouldn't work if you were driving a car. You couldn't do this with cars. You couldn't just drive from bar to bar to bar to bar to bar to bar to bar, drinking beer the whole time, and just drive your car. That's drinking and driving. How does it work with a motorcycle? Because they do drink beer. I've seen them. I worked at a bar when a poker run came through. They drank beer. We had a bunch of beer for them. I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't get it either. Why there's different rules for them? It makes no sense. They're the only class, like, you never hear like somebody in a fucking Volkswagen going, "Hey, taking the old Beetle out this weekend, so you guys better keep your eyes peeled."
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you would think that, you know, they post up these poker run flyers everywhere. You see them all the time. We're having a poker run, whatever. You would think police would just be like, oh, drunk motorcyclists are on the road. Here's where they're going to be. We're just going to go arrest them. It doesn't make sense to me, but...
well, here in Columbus, they do something similar to that for different causes. They call it a pub crawl. And they don't drive, they just walk. So they'll, like, take a taxi cab down to, you know, the Short North or what have you, and then just start at one bar and work their way all the way down and back.
The thing I'm wondering...
it's crazy.
The thing I'm wondering about Columbus now, you guys have those bird scooters there right now. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I saw... you know, our mutual friend Dave Berkey was talking about them, so I looked them up because I didn't realize they were already happening. But I love Dave interacts with a lot more people than I do down there. So his thing about the new homeless people want them. So then instead of like giving them $2, they'll be like, "Hey man, why don't you just swipe your swipey card, so I can use that scooter for the day." Like, I want to trust you.
Oh,
you
my
fucking
God.
Degenerate. You can't even have a house.
That's crazy.
But
like, you got to assume that there's going to be people like lit as fuck just driving those things. Just driving them all around, man. I mean,
I'm telling you, football season, Frank, starts this Saturday for Ohio State football.
Oh, God.
And I'm telling you right now, two things are going to happen. By the end of the season, these little motor scooters are going to be done. And two, there's going to be a lot of accidents.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It gets fucking stupid down there. And this is another thing. I also want somebody to explain this. Why is it that in a college town or in a town like, you know, that has a big football fan base, why it is that when they win a big game or they lose a big game, no matter what, they lose their fucking minds and they forget that they're modern 2018 humans that shouldn't maybe set everything on fire in the town.
As somebody that's been involved in that scenario, both of those scenarios, just by being down there when they happen, I'll tell you exactly. There's two things: alcohol and mass hysteria. Like, and people are like, "Oh, what do you mean they're hysterical?" Yeah, they're hysterical either way. They're inconsolable if they've lost. If they've lost, all bets are off. The whole city could go up. It's like fucking The Crow, Devil's Night, you know. Light it up.
It's fucking nuts, man.
But if they win, there's a good chance there's still maybe fires, but they're a little bit better at managing that nonsense and putting it into like maybe one spot. Like,
they're like just happier fires.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, man, I've seen it. I know we probably should cut for music, but give me 1 second. We lost once to Michigan. I'd been here about 3 or 4 years at this point, and I was at a house party, so I was like 6 blocks away from the stadium, and I walked out to watch. I could see fires spreading, and then I watched guys on horses like fucking Planet of the Apes style, riding kids down and knocking them over and arresting them. And I'm just standing in this yard drinking a beer out of a red Solo cup, just watching it like this. My dad wouldn't believe me or my mom if I told them where I was right now. It was like the end of the world.
And you're just like, yep, this seems about right.
I'm just drinking my beer. I'm like, man, I hope I get laid tonight.
There's a good possibility at the end of the world, man. A lot of sad ladies. Yeah, but you are right. We should cut for music. Let's get into it a little bit with some heavier stuff here. Killed for Profit. The song's called Destruction, followed up by Slut Bomb, a little tune called Alien vs. Predator.
Go ahead, die!
might as well get a little bit more sadness in this program. So there's been a lot of crazy stuff happening, a lot of suicides, a lot of random shootings.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What is going on out there? I feel like I feel like everybody that's a medical professional works really hard, but they're just a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just read about this kid, Frank, today, 9 years old, came out as gay, which I don't understand how that's a thing. I mean, when I was 9, I was still playing with Tonka trucks, and I didn't know that my wiener even worked, except for to expel pee, you know? I really didn't. I don't know how old everybody else was when they started discovering that their body was a wonderland, but it wasn't me at 9, I'll tell you that.
It's got to have something to do with the internet, man. They find out what the gay is a thing, and then they're like, that lines up with my interests and how I feel, and then maybe they're easier to recognize it, you know.
And that's cool, man. But that's not the thing that's shocking about it, because hey, if a kid, kids are impressionable, and you're right. If they feel like there's something like that, they should be able to talk about it with people and other adults, and and their parents and what have you. But this kid told some kids at school, and then for 4 days endured some sort of ridicule that led him to think that his only option was to kill himself.
I'm so shocked that even is a mentality that is happening in schools now, because you'd think, with all these parents that are like our age, that there'd be a lot less of it than what there was whenever we were kids.
Yeah, because it's not like, I mean, in our age group, people aren't abandoning their children, at all.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I used to be called, they used to call me a faggot all the time. I mean, I don't know how many times I got called a gay slur, or there was even at one point some asshole kids that were trying to push forward a story that I was fucking my best friend Matt at the time. And let me assure you guys, that's simply not true. Never had gay sex, just not my thing. I'm nothing against it. Everyone is more than welcome to fuck whoever they want. I don't care. But I endured some of that shit, but I wasn't actually being like, I am a gay dude. Why are you fucking making me feel weird,
I think the difference too in our situations, because I got called that as well. I mean, I think any kid growing up in our age group, that faggot was the go-to word to put somebody down.
Yeah. Which, by the way, before we continue with the sadness, I do still think it's really funny if someone calls a woman a faggot. Is that wrong? I mean, it's funny because that doesn't match up right. I don't know. Anyways, but continue.
But what I'm saying is, I think that the kids now have it even a little harder, because our torture stopped, if you think about it, at the exit door at school, right? So you would go home, you could surround yourself with your friends. A lot of people's phone numbers weren't published when we were growing up in the 80s, because our parents were smart and were like, hey, I don't want to be in the phone book. But
exactly.
So our torture didn't pick back up till 12 to 14 hours later, So we had a break from it, a respite, if you will. It's like these kids now, they come home, they get on their tablet, they're still getting harassed. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would be able to handle it either.
No.
And then, not to change gears, but I just wanted to show that there's an epidemic. In my life, I've known now 4 people who, in my life of 38 years, who have decided to kill themselves over things that I can't fathom why that would be a life ender for you. You know what I mean? So, just recently, a gentleman I went to school with, I haven't seen him since we went to school, but he was always very nice to me. And, he ended up killing himself after a car chase with the police. And to me, I'm just like, why? I don't know what his situation was. I haven't talked to him in years, But it seems like a waste, Like, I wish that there was better mental health in the United States to start with, that somebody you could drive to in a scenario like that, just pull right into a hospital and walk right in and go, I'm fucked up. I need some help, And instead of getting arrested and put in, crazy prison that doesn't help anyone, maybe get something going to actually help you, It's sad to me. It hurts when you think about it. Like how a little kid could think that, you know, killing himself over going to school would be even a thought or an entertainment. Like that he couldn't just say, "Mom, I want to go to the hospital" instead. It blows my mind, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't imagine what it's like. I experience the regular normal life, you know, like depression and anxiety, the normal level, maybe a little heightened. My anxiety's through the roof most times, it feels like, but I've never once felt like, you know, I just can't do this anymore. I still have things to live for. So I can't imagine what it would be like to not have anywhere to turn to or anything. So I just wish people would just stop all the fucking horse shit. And these are probably kids that have been caught doing this stuff, bullying like this, and not been reprimanded properly. Because there's always this, they're just kids. They are just kids, but you can explain shit to kids.
Yeah.
You might have to do it a few times.
I guess the problem too for me, I think, and probably the thought process, because I don't have kids, but I just imagining, you have to think that you know your kid, right? So if you look at your kid and you go, "Oh, my kid's a fucking bully," it's on you to correct that behavior. You know what I mean?
You have
it's not
to
on
know
the school district, you know. Yeah.
You have to know it. It's not something that's hidden to you. You may avoid dealing with it, but that's not solving any problems. As a parent, on my personal level, my daily fight is to make sure that my kids don't turn out to be assholes. That, you know, that's the main thing parents should do, because ultimately these kids are going to be adults at some point. Just make sure they're not assholes. That's all you have to worry about. Let's dig into some more music. And you got some more stuff?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Just real quick. So if the point of this talk was just to reiterate, if you're feeling that way and you're listening to this broadcast right now, hopefully you've changed your mind, and because we're funny and caring, nice people. But if you haven't, seek out. There's plenty of suicide hotline prevention things that you can call. There's a ton of hospitals in everyone's areas. There's friends and family that you can reach out to. Just, you know, that was what we wanted to broach the subject was, there are better ways, you know, reach out to someone.
Yeah, there's a massive problem with mental health in this country, and we kind of have to address it when we see it, if we can see it. You know, we have to reach out to people. If you see somebody seems to be having a hard time, sometimes you can really tell if someone is. Other times you can't. But just, you know, be there for people, because a lot of people just don't want to deal with it at all, and it's fucking rough. But anyways, let's get into some music here. A little Wasted Potential song called Kirby Road, and we'll be back in a little bit. Hey, Ray.
Hey,
How'd you like that song?
it was very good. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's very good. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your other podcasts that you work on. I heard you do a show called Area 42.
I do.
What's that all about?
Well, it's two longtime pals, myself and Jacob Thornburg, and we sit down and we discuss life's mysteries. And it's everything from Bigfoot to whether or not civilization has been more advanced, to time travel, to paranormal activity. You know, we're delving into the bigger mysteries of life.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Since we're talking about it, why don't we play a little sample here? This is going to be from your Bigfoot episode. That's a dandy.
I did not see a Bigfoot ever in real life. But someone I truly believe has always been honest with me did. And it's my dad. My father, Steve Woten, he claimed to have seen a creature that he couldn't describe. He couldn't understand where it would be there when he was a young teenager. This is in northern Ohio, up by Lima, Ohio. I do realize that there's a big Bigfoot research center up there. I know that there's quite a few people in my hometown that are involved in Bigfoot hunts and things, and that's neat. But here's the story as it was told to me. My dad and several of his cousins, when they were teenagers, decided to, borrow an old Ford pickup truck and go fishing for the night. Mm-hmm. Night fishing for Lima, Ohioans is a big thing. I never really dug it, but a lot of family I have do it. So
it's catfishing, right?
Yeah, it's mainly for catfish, that kind of stuff. Walleye in some cases, depending how far you go, but mostly catfish. But my and I guess bass also, largemouth bass. But anyways, so my dad and his cousins, they get to northern Ohio. As far as I understand the story, it's somewhere outside of Indian Lake. They get to this campsite, they set up camp, then they take their fishing poles and they wander through the woods to this fishing site. Fish for a few hours. My dad gets tired, so he decides he's going to head back to the campsite. So now he's alone. It's after midnight, 1, 2 a.m. He's wandering back to the campsite through the woods alone. He says he hears this crashing through the woods. So frightens him, and he stays very still. And he watches as a creature that was... My dad's a tall guy. He's about 6 foot, right around there. He said he watched as a creature that was in his prime, 6 foot, taller than that, so at least 7 feet tall. Probably 50 feet, half of that distance maybe away from him. And he couldn't get a good view of exactly how it looked, just its eyes and the outline of its body and the smell. Now I want you to remember, my dad's an older guy, so this would have been in the 60s, okay? So there hadn't been documentaries on Bigfoot and books that you could read.
Rumors.
Yeah, that there was a smell associated with them. So that right away ticked off one of my boxes as, oh, wow, that's the thing that people say that they see or they smell. He said there was this rancid smell, like unwashed, unkempt. It's also wet fur. But he said it looked right in his direction and could tell that he was there, and he startled it at some point. And he said he started to put his fishing pole down, like to set it in the ground, just to hold on to it so he wouldn't drop it. And the thing let out this guttural just noise. And he
like
couldn't...
you see in a lot of the
exactly.
Bigfoot hunter stuff now.
So that sent my dad into fight or flight, and he hit the flight button. He said he ran like nobody's fucking business. He said he ran so hard and fast that by the time that he could take a breath, he was in the middle of his campsite, and he was throwing shit in the pickup truck. And he took the pickup truck into town for a few hours.
That's crazy.
Just to get out of there. Then he came back. By that time, his cousins were back to the campsite. They're like, where the fuck did you go? And he told them...
He just left them?
Yeah, he kind of laughed it off as being scared in the woods.
He
And
just left everybody at the campsite.
yeah. Well, they were down at the lake. You know?
Oh, okay.
So they weren't. Yeah, they were still fishing, and my dad was going back to hang out at the campsite. Maybe cook something to eat or drink a little bit. So that's the story. My dad didn't tell anybody this story because he feared people would judge him and think he was crazy. Until I was probably a teenager, he told me that story. We were on a fishing trip, and I was talking to him about how I'd read a lot about Bigfoot and the Yeti and Sasquatch, and he's like, I actually saw a Sasquatch once, and I thought he was gonna. My dad's famous for starting jokes with, I actually did that once, and then so I was waiting for the punchline, but no, he told that story. So I believe that my father actually.
All right. Well, we are back, and I just wanted to mention, we recently had an issue with someone we were working with.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. I want to say directly and just general that I think that our mission statement from the beginning has been, and I love that you started this whole thing, Frank, and everybody that's listening should know that you did, was to set a platform up for people who couldn't normally get their content, whether it be music, any type of art, spoken word poems, if that's your thing,
right,
and give them a forum to put that out there. Because we grew up in a time period where the internet wasn't as prolific. It was hard for us to meet other like-minded individuals that enjoyed things that we enjoyed, and it was very difficult to, when we produced something that we thought was great, to share that thing. So I've always operated, since we've been doing this for all these years, under that guise. I've met hundreds of people that I can't say enough nice things about. This community that we've built online, full of just beautiful souls, if I could.
Oh yeah, we've got like the weirdest, most unique people in Ohio in our realm, and we're there to support each other. It's a nice community.
It's a nice community. Well, I recently met someone who told me that they would like to do stand-up. So over the last few months, I helped that person with my own free time. And I'm not saying this to brag or to ask, to think, oh wow, how special it is. But I had been doing comedy for a while, so I gave them some tips. I looked at some of their material. I gave them notes. I practiced with said person. I even hooked them up with you for a show so that they could try their material out in front of a live audience, right?
For an extended period of time, which most of the time you're not going to get that.
Exactly.
We have somehow managed to be able to go into venues, talk to them, discuss with them a plan for an event, and get comedians more than just 5 minutes of time. We can craft a show around local artists and musicians and make it a cool thing. So to get a spot on one of our shows is kind of cool. It's a cool thing. I think we're doing cool.
I think it's very cool. My very first gig, you were there, was 5 to 7 minutes, and I had to rush everything. It felt rushed. There wasn't, time to take in everything that I was doing, and so I love that we have created that we've created this neat platform. Well, this person just decided to abuse and we do all this for free for the most part. I mean, gratis, if you will.
So sometimes it does take me a minute to get stuff out also, and there's never a guarantee of how soon something will be released because I don't like doing that. It takes all the fun out when I have a deadline. So when I can just kind of release things as a channel, it works out.
And then this person also started right off the get-go from that night. The person did very well, for the first time, and then the video you took still frames from the video to promote it, and everybody involved. There were many comedians and acts, musical acts that night. Nobody complained about their photos except for this particular person, and they said it made them look less than appealing, which I don't care. Look at me as a human being. Every photo I look less than appealing. Yeah. But so this person seemed to really care. So you took down the stuff.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard from said person in months, and then last night, out of the blue, this person blows my phone up, texting me, saying things like, I was promised this, and you don't you dodge my phone calls, which is untrue. I've responded to every message this person's ever left me. This person has a severe drinking problem, and I know that, so I in real life have avoided meeting up with them again because I realized it. But it doesn't mean that I didn't answer the questions about where the video is. I said, in a very brief manner, if the video was deleted, there's nothing I can do, but I couldn't get a hold of you, so I wasn't sure if we had it still.
Yes. Now, the thing about
this person blew up.
The thing about this is, when I took down her photo, I just took it down. And she said, well, why couldn't you just pick a different still? I didn't mean for you to take it down altogether. I don't even think I responded to that. But then I also had put a clip out from her set. And I didn't even do that to all the comedians, you know. JR Jr. I had put a piece of his set, or maybe his whole set, in a ZTO Radio episode, but that's a different thing. I plan on releasing it by itself, but I plan on releasing things when I want to release them. Because we're doing podcasts, I have 3 or 4 events I'm rotating in content from.
And it's free, so that person should have just waited until it was their turn, or reached out to you and said in a polite tone, hey, do you know when you get around to releasing this video?
Yeah, and there's been times where people have reached out to me and asked if they could get their stuff put up earlier, and because they were so kind and did it in the proper manner, I did abide them and I got it up. But honestly, my main focus is our podcast content. That's our original content. That's the stuff that I feel the most pride in. That's the stuff that I'm working towards promoting the most. So that stuff is on a regular cycle. When I get a new episode in the chamber, I get it released as soon as possible. That's the way I always do it, because that's top priority projects. All the live stuff that I'm not getting paid to do, but I enjoy doing it for people and I enjoy it being a part of our channel, that comes secondary. You know, I've been doing this the same way for a long time. So it's like it's kind of like a loose schedule, but it's not. But
it hurts my feelings when somebody who we work so hard for, though, calls me a motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Use that term. Said, you stupid motherfucker. When I didn't promise them anything that wasn't delivered. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Everything was going to be delivered. It was at every turn that we tried to deliver it that this person wanted to be weird about it, you know?
Yeah, and it was...
So I'm like, if you don't want people to see your work, then don't film it. And then that person tried to throw back at me, Frank, I wanted to let you know this too. They said, I had 20 people there, I could have had somebody else film it. And I wanted to go,
yes.
Well, you should have. I don't know why you wouldn't in that
scenario.
You know?
And that's to say I brought 20 people. That means that you had 20 people that wanted to support you. You were not performing to an honest crowd. There was, there was bias there. So you technically did well for your buddies. So you could have done that anywhere. So it's not really a brag. But regardless, I just want to let anybody who know who we work with in the future, we're really cool about stuff. You can come and talk to me directly on Facebook, message the page, I'll get it directly if you have any problems. But ultimately, if you are a dick, I don't know, is that what you would call her, like a dick? Like she was just being a dick.
Yeah, I would say that person was being a complete and total dick.
Yeah.
And somebody that hadn't worked hard enough yet to be a dick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This is the number one thing. None of the comedians, aside from you, who is a ZTO TV co-founder, had their full set released yet. Also, why would she get top priority over other people who have done comedy for longer? So that was my main point of view. I did just release it and give it to her directly. I will not message her anymore. I will not be using her content for anything else. I will never post it up again. I will never do anything else to promote it. It'll stand there.
Right.
It seems to be doing fine. It's got like 200 and some views now, but regardless, in the future, it won't be added into anything else. And if people are going to act like dicks, we're not going to be friends. I mean, it's happened in the past.
That's the thing, is this is a shared community where we are trying to raise each other up, not tear each other down. And I'll be damned if on my Sunday afternoon, after 4 months of you not checking in with me at all, like saying, hey, is there any shows? Or I hadn't even heard from this person. I thought this person didn't even want to be involved anymore, to be quite honest.
Right.
And to insult me and insult you, I wanted to let everybody know that's never going to fly.
Right.
You're welcome to partake in this adventure with us, and we will do our damnedest to make sure that your stuff gets equal billing,
Right.
But I will never be talked to like that. And that person knew. I called that person up and spoke to them directly, and I can tell you the C word and many other words were linked together. Nobody will talk to me like that ever again for free, If you're paying me $500, you can call me a motherfucker all day.
This is my point. This is my final point on this, and then we'll get into some other stuff. But if I take a video and I'm pulling a still of you out of it, I'm trying to find a clear photo, the best one I can find that's clear, that doesn't look derpy or whatever, make you look stupid. So I pulled out a picture of her. That's what she looks like. That's reality. I didn't alter it. I didn't put a fucking filter on it. I did nothing. That's how she fucking looked. We never do that. I never. And if you want me to craft your persona online, if you want me to I don't know, make you look a certain way that you're not, I can probably manage to do that. But you have to pay me. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, but anyways.
I don't know. I really don't know what that person was thinking in general. Like, except for the booze was talking at that point.
Yeah.
But this person, I am done with professionally. As Christian Bale said in the famous audio of him trashing his own lights on Terminator Salvation, I'm fucking done with you professionally. Quote me on that.
All right. Well, let's get into some music here. We're going to do a little band called Perverts Again. The song's called My Accident. We'll be back in a little bit.
Doctor made me sad, took my temperature. His wife had died of cancer since her last appointment. We talked about the bad things that happened to her. He stayed for another appointment. Forgot to disinfect his latex Zika glove. Forgot to disinfect his gargled voice of mud. Couldn't discern a word he touched with hand of germ. Tiny-headed baby when it comes to term. To the doctor, please stay for another appointment. Just got here. Walk to Severance Hall, will Prince the Symphony. I could not bear another disappointment. Just got here. Your head is quickly shrinking, but it suits you. Please put on this big hat if it fits you. Did you think your day would ever turn out like this? Isn't Doctor much more fun outside the office? Things have been so strange since my accident. 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 Things have gotten interesting since the incident. My eyes have just been bulging since the accident. My senses have been heightened since my accident. Things have been so strange since my accident. Things have gotten interesting since the incident. People have been acting out since my accident. Things have been conspicuous since my incident. Life's been
Well, let's get into some nicer territory here with this. What have you been watching lately?
Well, I've actually, since I haven't been feeling the greatest and it's been hot as fuck the last couple of days.
Oh yeah.
I've been catching up on some movies that people told me to check out. I just watched that film Hereditary. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I heard it's like a new horror movie, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing about it. I wanted to talk to you about it because if anybody I know would like it, it would be you. Uh-huh. Because it's like a throwback to the Omen kind of horror.
Okay.
Like it's not a slasher film by any means. It's not a creature feature. It is a Damien Omen story meets a mental illness story. Okay. You know, and I got to tell you, I didn't think I was going to dig it. Like about an hour into it, I'm like, I'm still on the fence. But the ending of this movie got me. Okay. To where I was like, oh shit, I did not see that coming, and thank you very much. I will be watching this again.
Well, now listen, the last movie you recommended to me, I cried. So I don't want to be crying, Randy.
Well, these people, have you seen The Omen?
I've seen The Omen. It's been years ago, though.
Okay. Imagine The Omen, but way more serious.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, that's how this was. It was like almost a family drama, like that kind of style, but mixed with horror elements. So, like, just to give you a brief overview, this chick, I can't remember the actress's name. She's been in a ton of stuff, but she has a history of mental illness in her family, and her mother passes away right at the beginning of the movie. There's an obituary that opens the movie, and she's giving this eulogy, and you can tell that she didn't like her mom very much. Yeah. And her family had all this tragedy. So you cut from that to her current home, and it's a clusterfuck. It's sad as fuck. It's almost the exact same situation that she was complaining about. Mm-hmm. So she goes to like some of these parent conferences, where other parents get together and bitch about how their lives are not good, for whatever reason. I lost this person, I just lost my mom, and I'm having a hard time dealing. Well, she meets this nice old lady, and then from there it goes into the Omen territory, because if you're watching the peripheral, like involving the kids at school that are involved in this family, there's these same people that you'll see in these groups, like hanging on the fringe of the film, like outside the school. You'll see, like, isn't that the old lady that she was talking to? Why is she watching this kid play? And shit like this. Right. And then I'm telling you, dude, the last 30 minutes, I couldn't tell if this lady was really like gone full psychotic, or if all the shit she was uncovering was actually true. Right. Until the last frame, and it's one of those where I stood up and I clapped. I was like, yes, whoever wrote this knows what I like. Well, I'm sure, because I don't know about you, but I like to be taken to places I wouldn't think of.
Yeah, I definitely like it whenever a movie ends differently than what I'm expecting. There's been too many that I'm like, I know what's going to happen at the beginning of the movie. So, did
you ever see the movie Witch? About the farmers in the 1800s that moved out they got kicked out of the puritanical religion, and they started their own religion, and then their little girl gets kidnapped by a real witch. You ever see
No, that's a newer one, right?
Yeah, that one came out about 2 years ago. Right. It's very similar in the vibe, because it starts as one thing, like basically a kind of discussion on puritanical values to straight up crazy horror, and that's how this flowed.
That's always a good transition. I'm sure we'll get to those at some point on the last Roundup Horror Show. It's hard for me to fit many other things in than the movies we watch for that anymore. Like we just upped it to like 8 movies now. So I have to watch 8 movies a month for the show, for our recording sessions.
Right.
So that ought to be interesting. It's always kind of a pain in the ass because people pick stuff that's not readily available online, so I have to borrow DVDs off Jared or Jason. The whole thing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff I'd like to suggest to you, because you and I talk about, movies all the time and I'm like, oh man, Frank should try this one on. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's not on a streaming service, and I'm, I don't have a way to drive it over to you,
Yeah,
right
right.
now. So
Yeah. Yeah, basically, aside from fucking the movies that I have to watch for the last roundup, it's just fucking Family Matters, man. I've been watching Family Matters from season 1, episode 1. So we're in
Nice.
season 2 now. It's always like comfort food for me because after watching some of these movies, I have to like wipe my
you just
brain.
need a good laugh.
It's not even a good laugh. It's not.
Just a laugh.
It's like if you were gonna have spaghetti, like this is the SpaghettiOs of television. Really,
Yeah.
it's
Well, I'm in a similar boat too because I'm like I don't know of any new comedies I'm really digging. Like
Yeah.
there's not a lot of that out, so I went back and started watching Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Which is like one of my favorite comedies.
yeah, stuff like that. It's just easy. It's nice. We see what happened was we finished The Office. I just rewatched all of that again, and I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't really get bad after Steve Carell leaves because Robert California is a great character. I fucking love that dude. He like some of the shit he says makes me laugh much harder than anything Steve Carell said because he's so crazy. He's just nuts.
I just remember the scene where he invites him to his house and they're at the pool at his house.
Yeah.
That made me laugh like I belly laughed in that scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that happens there. But yeah, just Family Matters. I started to try to watch Step by Step, trying to get the TGIF feeling going. But Step by Step's really hard to watch, man, because from Jump Street, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because the way they meet is they fucking both go to Jamaica and they get married in Jamaica. But they both go to Jamaica by themselves. Nobody fucking does that. Nobody goes to Jamaica by themselves. Ever. Never. Unless you're transporting drugs in your ass, you're not going to Jamaica by yourself. I just can't imagine. But, also there's a little bit of an issue whenever Cody comes into the picture. He's
the cousin that lives in the
van.
motorhome.
He's always trying to fuck that Dana. Or what is that her name? Dana, the one sister? And they're like related now.
Well, I thought that they were just by the marriage, right? I mean, it's not like they grew up together and they're first cousins or anything.
I guess not.
I'm not saying that I would do it.
It's still weird.
I'm not saying that
the guy in the van is trying to bang his new cousin, technically. But
hey, that's a whole new buffet right there.
Well, speaking of that, dude, he got in trouble not too long ago for domestic violence, I believe. I think his name's Sasha Mitchell. Don't want to call him out, but his name's Sasha Mitchell.
Please welcome Derek Johnson.
Oh. Hey, I made this stat card for myself, so I'm just going to read it real quick by myself. Derek Dunson, date of birth 7/25/84, height 5'9", weight 180 something, we'll say. One child, 5 to 9 gray hairs, 2 to 3 ear hairs per month, and 7 chest hairs randomly. Skills: can recall both the taste and feel of freshen up gum at will, and special achievements: has successfully passed and failed a drug test in the same day. Alright, so that's me, guys. Been on tour for the last couple months, on a steady diet of horrible, no doubt, but been killing on tour. Been murderous, you might say, because I've been touring the country murdering people. Alright, there, I said it. We'll move on. Hey, you ever forget to brush your teeth for a couple days, so when you do, you're really going for it? You get in the tongue, get in the gums. It's more like you're bleeding your gums more than anything. Tongues, blood, gum. And then you throw up. So then you brush your teeth again, which makes you throw up again, which makes you think, hey, maybe I should brush my teeth again. You ever been in the shower and realize you have no idea how long it's been since you washed your legs? I mean, I can get down in here and get back in here, you know, but about as far down as my arms go is as far down as I go anymore. Hey, by round of applause, real quick, who here does not want me to do by round of applause setups? Okay, all right. I used to have a joke about getting a windshield decal for my car, which was basically just making fun of people that would do that. But since then, I think I've calmed down, and I've just come to the conclusion that if you're the kind of narcissistic asshole who needs one that says "my fucking truck" on it in cursive letters that you can't even link together properly, then you're the same kind of degenerate asshole who's going to park in front of somebody before their shift at work and not once think to turn off your fucking headlights. Right. And I've had a lot of jobs, guys. That means I've lost a lot of jobs. Found out the other day what kind of wine goes best with hamburger helper. Anybody know? I mean, any kind of wine. That's what kind of wine. Jesus. If you were paying attention on my stat card, I'm approaching 34 years old. So 34. Still can't grow a beard. So I don't think it's going to happen. I still get carded for alcohol, which is fine. I get it. But cigarettes? Come on. Do I not even look like I've graduated high school? Do you think I'm keeping the acne on purpose? This 34-year-old stress acne. Just give me a pack of smokes, people. Come on. But yeah, 34. Can't grow a beard. And I've kind of, realized to not get too upset about it because a lot of it is genetics. And it just bums me out because I've got 2 dads and I didn't get a beard from either one of them. 2 dads, both fairly masculine guys. One of them can definitely grow a good beard, but it's not the one, I guess. Still carded for cigarettes though, so I think I'm just gonna stop smoking the cigarettes. A lot of it is because of the wind though. Get a lot of ash in my eye. You know, you get ash in your eye, then you gotta put the cigarette out in your eye. It's a fucking drag, man. It's weird the things you realize when you're getting older. The things you notice. Like, did you know it's possible to sit on your own balls? I learned that around 30, so if you're under 30 and you know, then good on you. But if you don't know, whatever your age, just be careful. That's been my time, guys. Thanks for listening. Go out and vote. Don't kill yourself.
Derek Dunson, everybody.
You are listening to ZTO Radio.